Okay, good evening, everybody. How are you today? It's so wonderful to see everybody. It feels like it's been forever, so always great to see our neighbors. With that, I'm going to yield the floor so we can open up with the roll call or call to order for tonight's business from Deputy Clerk Montgomery. I'll reintroduce her in a minute. But with Deputy Clerk Montgomery so we can establish a quorum.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Trustees and residents. Today is September 12th, 2024, and the time is 6:35. Trustee Norwood?
Aye, present.
Trustee Stanley Brown? Here. Trustee Tammy Brown?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Present.
Trustee Holmes is absent. Trustee Belcher?
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. This meeting today has been, we'll go into pledge and prayer, then we'll go into some comments. All right, so first I'll ask, the flag is, which corner of the building is it on this? All right, the flag is in this direction, so I'll ask everybody to stand in that direction, face towards the flag for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next. Next, I'll ask Deacon Stanley Brown, you got a prayer in you for us? Yeah. Please.
Can we bow our heads, ladies and gentlemen? Father God, he that walketh in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadows of the Almighty. I say this with the strength that we need to wait on the Lord, and we must be of good courage. He will strengthen our heart. So I say we must wait. In the name of the Lord Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Okay, I want to, I'll wait till general announcements. Public comment, we're asking that those who have any statements for this body will come and address this body at the podium right up here. We are giving a 3 minutes, so as the 3 minutes concludes, we will wave our timer at you and then ask that those comments be concluded at that time. So anybody has comments for the public, for the board, please step forward at this time.
Sure. Thank you.
Hold on. I think I turned it on. Hi, my name is Sherry Verhoeven-Nowakowski. The mayor once said, old people don't know anything. Well, I know a lot about Dolton. See, I grew here, I flew here, and I come back several times a week. I'm a Doltonite. A Doltonite is a person who lives here past or present, short or long-term for life. There are people who love their homes in town. The people here tonight are Doltonites. The mayor says if you moved out, you should not be able to speak or even run for office here. It's like saying George Dolton, the founder, is not a Doltonite because he passed away. She cannot take away being a Doltonite from many of us. She cannot take away the love and memories Doltonites have for this little village. It's an invisible thread that connects us all together and cannot be broken. Dolton is my childhood town. Facts, my roots run very, very deep here. My 4 times great-grandfather came here in 1851. It's in the bicentennial book. I still have family here. 173 years of Verhovens in Dolton. George Dolton, John A. Verhoeven, and many other farmers contributed to start Dolton. A quote from a fellow Doltonite on Facebook. My memories of Dolton are very much of friends who lived down the block, parks that were down the street, schools and churches were within walking distance of our house. We actually knew and talked to our neighbors. We seldom needed to go outside Dolton for shopping and entertainment. Again, I grew up here, and I want to throw up here. Downtown Dolton is a ghost town. On Lincoln Avenue, The old dentist office and Thompson Clinic are still boarded up with weeds. There are remnants of the baseball buildings from the 80s. Why should people leave their town to shop? They should be able to support local business. Well, you can't, because she spends all the money all over town promoting her base. This is Dolton. She spends money on parties, trips, and gives away. She's a flim-flam man, a con woman. Doltonites are rolling around in their graves tonight. A quote from President Roosevelt: "I never forgot that I live in a house owned by all the American people, and that I have been given their trust." The mayor says the opposite. She told Mayor Lightfoot to get out of her house. Well, this ain't her house, and this is not her town. It's Dolton. It's not Tiffanyville. You are an elected official and one that can be voted out the next election. For my fellow Doltonites, something I heard: we cannot erase the past, nor we can forget it. So the only thing we can do is end it. Please know, fellow Doltonites, on Facebook, love and pray for all of you to get Dolton back. Vote Clean House 2025.
All right.
Good evening, residents.
Good evening.
All right, nice. I'm former future trustee Edward Steve. I want to say this before this meeting starts. We have to kill the I mentality in leadership. The I mentality is I did this, I did this, I did that. That's what we hear every meeting. This meeting, you're going to hear the we mentality. You're going to hear the team. Watch how smooth this meeting goes. Watch how things get handled, how professional, no arguing, no back and forth. This is the we mentality and leadership that we need moving forward in Dolton. So watch this meeting go smooth, professional, and this is the calm meeting that we need. That doesn't represent Dolton. This represents Dolton. So I want to say that. Thank you. Clean House 2025.
Good evening, residents. As some of you may know and some of you may not know, my name is Cassandra Hobson-Jordan. And I don't just stand here as a candidate for mayor, but I stand here as a resident. And the thing I have an issue with that I've been fighting to get back for several months now is my escrow from a home that I purchased, an extra home that I purchased here in Dolton. And I will hope to think that this administration team, from the mayor on down, would be professional enough that when I reach out and when I have an issue or I leave my number, I expect you all to reach back. I expect answers. I don't expect to not hear anything. And I expect you all to truly be professional and not have a biased attitude because I am running for mayor. I am still a resident. And I left my name and number concerning my escrow. This has been back in June. We're getting ready to approach October. I was told that the escrow money is still there, so I'm trying to figure out why hasn't my escrow been released. You call the village, you get no answer. You call the village, you get no answer. You go up to the village, you get no answer. But yet, everybody wants to be put back in office, but yet no one is doing their job. So I expect you all from mayor on down to be professional. Return phone calls, answer situations, answer to problems. And this is the problem that we have here in the village. Everybody wants a seat, everybody wants to hold on to their check, but nobody wants to do their job. And me as a resident, when I come up to this village, regardless of what position that I am running for, I expect you guys to be professional and not have a biased attitude and return my phone calls, answer my questions, because at the end of the day, I am still a resident here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, give me 1 second. I wrote something out because I didn't want to wing it and miss something. So, just wanted to say that since the Hingard administration started, I've been fighting against her and what she's doing to Dolton. Nobody sees the world or Tiffany like I do, because it's kind of weird, because when I first was diagnosed with my brain tumor, that's around the time when she started like doing things that's not right. So I've been fighting this for years, for 3 years now, with Tiffany. I met an abundance of good people during this fight, the residents, people online. I've had so many inboxes that I just found yesterday that I didn't even know I had from people that's just concerned about Dolton and what Dolton's going through. We all know that the trustees have been locked out. So we all know that they can't get what they need to do what they need to do. So for the person that's running for mayor, maybe you should check to actually see if they even have keys to get in the building before you just say that they're not answering you and your needs, because it's other people that are in place that's not supposed to be even coming to work that's still going to work every day. Again, if nobody else sees what the trustees have done, they've created history. They have changed the way government is going to be ran forever. Y'all have to look at that. And y'all residents, everybody should be proud, because it took forever for us to get here. This wasn't easy. We've been fighting for a long time. Everybody know me. Y'all know my faces, so y'all know I've been fighting, because I won't give up. I'm not gonna stop until she's behind bars. Tiffany, her big plot was to divide our community. She wanted us to have racial disparities, saying that she's an attacked black woman. So am I. Y'all see what happened at every meeting. She sent someone purposely next to me to agitate me, to get me to get out of my character. I never get out of my character at meetings like this, because nobody's planted as a disturbance for me to try and get me kicked out of the meetings. I lost a lot of people, a lot of friends when I got sick. A lot of people don't know this, but when you sick and when you're about to lose your life, that's when you find out who really loves you, who's really there for you, and who's not there for you. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I lost all my friends, all of them, because they was no good for me. Just like with Tiffany. Tiffany was no good for us. That's why she's losing her administration right now. Y'all have to stand up and y'all have to continue this fight. I just wanted to say, and I know I don't have that much time, but
We got 3 minutes right there.
thank you. During Tiffany's Hinyard's time of corruption, Fania Dukes with Andrew Holmes. We have Tavares, the funnel cake man. We still haven't got any leads on his death. We have my friend, Felicia Ballard. She lost her son, Nick, in Dolton to gun violence in June. Still no leads on his death. And then we have beloved Alexis Wilson. Everyone knows that I have been...
3:15.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm not gonna be long, I promise. Everybody knows that with Alexis Wilson, she was shot and killed unjustly by the police in Dolton. July 27th, it was the day after my birthday, 2021. I never forget this day, because that was right around the time I started getting really sick. A lot of people don't know that, but that was around the time when I saw myself
3 minutes and 30 seconds.
going on a diet. Is that where I'm at? Okay, I'm sorry. So, okay, I'm gonna end it with this. I'm trying to get justice for Alexis Wilson. I know we can't get it right now. However, I just want to ask everyone to actually sign this petition that I have for change for Alexis Wilson. I'm going to pass it around. All you have to do is take a picture of it with your phone and just scan it and sign the petition. It is to rename the ice rink from just ice rink to Alexis Wilson. We have over 800 signatures already.
We hit 4 minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm like Michael Smith today. We have over 800 signatures. We just need a couple more. And one more thing, we're having a Wildcat Classic November 2nd. I need all my Wildcats from Dolton or Harvey, wherever y'all listen, to come out and show up. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Greetings, fellow Daltonites. Greetings to the real administration, and greetings to the media. I basically have some questions that really we shouldn't have to ask these questions, but here we are. Today I went to pay my water bill, and our city hall is still locked up. There's an area about 6 by 6 where you can go and conduct business and so forth. But there is no reason for us to have to be in this building, even though we really appreciate the hospitality of the Park District. We have leaned on them heavily in this long struggle that's encompassed almost 4 years now. We're going on 4 years with this. This is not a new situation at all. So we've got to find a way, especially after the binding decision handed down by the Attorney General, that most of you should know about at this point, that she has been ordered by the Attorney General's office to correct these open meetings violations. A lot of people don't know, I talked to one of the senior members down there at the Attorney General's office just yesterday. Well, actually, we emailed each other, and there is another case floating around from August the 5th that is also open, and she ignored the edict to respond to that, which was due on the 19th of August. So they sent her a final warning. My objective is to get maximum effects out of these opinions. There is a 30-day penalty that is the heaviest part of it. I want to see some escalation from the Attorney General's office. They know this. They're probably sick of me by now, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. And anyone else that wants to write to the Attorney General should do so, because even though it takes a long time, it does work, and it will leave a paper trail, and at some point, she is going to have to answer to some of this stuff. Hopefully, we can get our building back. We can get those illegal volunteers that are working in our offices, I guess both in Thornton Township and here in Dolton, and we need to get them out of there, even though they claim to be volunteers, because there's no telling what kind of sabotage they're doing. And I'm just hopeful that we are making some progress, and I saw a couple of things on the agenda today that looks like there may be some things that can be done. Downtown looking like a ghost town. That's no reason for that. How many businesses have had to leave Dolton because this woman and her cartel have repeatedly tried to shake down business owners, and now it's a ghost town down this way. And this should not be. We can't survive like this. Now, we're not new here. We've been here, most of us have been here for decades. I just wish our only problem was what we did was not getting a phone call returned, because they locked up the damn buildings. They don't answer the phones.
3-minute mark.
Okay, I am actually going to leave. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Glad to see everyone out today. I just want to commend the 4 trustees, the clerk, my assistant clerk sitting right there, the attorneys. I want to thank you for a very hard fight. Residents, I thank you for showing up and showing out. We have been fighting this demon for the last 3 years, and I did call her a demon, and I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. I've been in this community for over, I don't even know how long I actually been here. I think 23 years. And I've been active in this community ever since I've moved here. Some people say they have never seen me. Well, either you wasn't at home or you sent your kid to the door to say that you wasn't there. These trustees up here, I commend them because they have truly fought this woman tooth and nail, along with this marvelous attorney sitting here, and you guys are phenomenal for coming out, standing up, and at the last board meeting, I said I wasn't going, but I couldn't help myself, so I had to go up there when she was appointing Michael Smith illegally along with the attorney. Now for you all, and you all have went to school on politics, and I commend you for that, because once she don't have a quorum and that's 3 trustees, then the meeting should have been adjourned, and it wasn't. She go on her rampage talking about this, that, and nothing, and continue with the meeting. And Brown, you know that that's wrong, because I seen you leaving when I was entering the building at the last board meeting, and I'm gonna give you your kudos for leaving, because she know that that meeting was illegal. The ordinance state with the consent of the board on hiring and firing. So there's no way in the world she can hire Michael Smith. The ordinance also state that they have to have a background check. Correct me if I'm wrong, that any employees must have a background check. And if you look into Michael Smith's background, you know what you're gonna find. Okay? And there's no way in the world that he should be anything in the village of Dolton. And the attorney, the criminal attorneys that sit up there, I'm appalled every time I see them. There's no way in the world that they should be sitting up
Reached the
there
3-minute
because they are not hired by the village of Dolton. And the lady attorney that she just hired, she shouldn't be there either, because that was an illegal meeting, and like I stated before, and I'm
3
leaving.
minutes, 15 seconds.
And she was illegally appointed because she did not have a quorum. Thank you, and everybody have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
trustees.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank Stanley Brown particularly for being here tonight. I made a statement that I don't think people deserve kudos just because they wake up and decide to do the right thing. But I'm going to say thank you anyway. The right thing is what should have been done in the beginning, and we might not be here. And since everybody else is throwing their hats in the ring, for those who haven't signed my petition, I'm trying to get her out of township, so I'm running for trustee. Now back to our trustees. They've got a full plate. We've got to help them. I burned Jason's ear. I'm not going to bring up my building tonight, even though I just brought it up, but there are things that they've got to do to make us whole, and what I say is, I didn't steal anything. I don't feel like I'm supposed to put it back. We got to go after our money. We got to go after Kamal. We got to go after Keith Price. We got to go after everybody. Maybe even you a little bit, Stan, I don't know. We'll talk about that later. No, I thought that was cute. But everyone, please stand behind them. Stand behind them. We know what we got here in this village. Not knocking anybody, but Clean House 25 is what we have, is who's been here with us. I don't care how things went, because all of it wasn't their fault. So I'm not going to blame them for what she did. But I applaud all of you, and Eris, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. All right, seeing no one else, I'm going to move next into general announcements. Briefly want to give great thanks to Dolton Park District. I think it's been mentioned a few different times about the partnership we have, so I do want to give acknowledgement. I see present with us, we have Commissioner Willis Harris. I'm saving the best for last. Hold on here. I'm trying to see who else. Are there any other commissioners before we get to the president? All right, we got our Park District President, Cleo Jones. He's been doing tremendous work making sure that we have this building, and the partnerships really have sustained not only the board but this community throughout these hard times. So we want to give great thanks to them for all of their support. The partnerships are the way that we're going to get out of this situation moving forward. So I want to make sure I just really extend the gratitude. Secondly, we have to remind everybody, just so we can put this on record, this is a regularly scheduled board meeting. This is not a political campaign. This is not a political forum. So we appreciate the passion. We want to make sure that we do not jeopardize the Park District with political information that should not be discussed in this forum. Having said that, I'll yield to any board members if they have any comments.
No comments, but I want to, first of all, I want to thank our Dolton Fire Department, who has shown up and shown out continuously, working without a contract for years, and they are still here taking care of the business. So again, let's give a round of applause for our Dolton Fire Department. And also, this Saturday, the 14th of September, we will have Tea with the Trustees. Please come one, come all, come out, get the vital information that you don't get at the board meeting, and also you're able to ask questions and get answers. So definitely, we want to see everyone. Please come out to Tea with the Trustees. We have awesome information that's given out on a monthly basis. So again, thank you all tonight for coming. Hope to see you all Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Tim. Trustee Stan Brown.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here because your concerns are my priorities, and I definitely need to know what's happening all over the village. Now, I have residents that said come to this meeting, some said don't come to this meeting. I'm here for all the residents. So I appreciate you, Ms. Avon. As many times I've been knocking on your door, and we had a lot of conversations. So, and Trustee Stubbs, we did some battles on the street together, taking care of some business. So we're not strangers to one another. But I just like to say, it's work to be done. Just as I said in the short little get-together we had last week, that all the trustees and the mayor, we need to get ourselves together because we have work to do. Right now, we have our village hanging on the edge, and it's up to us to hold everything aboard. So what happens from here on out, I'm not here as jumping ship, or I never was on the ship to jump a ship. Always been here. But I like to do what's right, and that's very important. And every resident in this village deserves that. So I'm not going to shortchange no residents, whether we voted for each other or not. It's a job for me to do. And I'm still doing what I always have been doing for over 30-some years. And I see Coach Cleo back there. I see him grinning because he know the work that me and him have put in getting this building together. I was actually, they let me be a part of this here, of help getting this here together. So ladies and gentlemen, it's no heroic move that's being made, but it's about we need to get some things together because what's on this agenda, it really touched me to make sure I'm here because us 6 trustees need to get together and do some hardcore talking. So I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm going to be at this meeting. I'm going to be at the meeting at the village. I'm going to be at this meeting. I'm going to be at the meeting at the village of Dolton. Nothing's going to change. So I got a job to do, so I intend on continuing to do it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing me out.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much, Trustee.
May I be recognized?
Yeah, Trustee Belcher.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I would like to say I am glad that everyone is out. Nope, I'm not even going to say that. Maybe people should understand what a trustee does. Amen. Let's start with that. The trustees are the legislative body, and we control the purse. And of course, if anybody has been on the journey with us for this 3.5 years, they can see that our purse has been snatched. And when people get up and say there's something biased or there's a political agenda, every time we have a meeting, it's been taped. We would never take anyone's escrow off of a warrant list. June, we didn't even know who was running. So those kind of comments go into political things. And as a community, I've said on several platforms, we have come together as a community despite all of this chaos. And those that are in it for the real fight know what's going on. So if someone has an issue and it hasn't been addressed via the day-to-day operations of the village, As a trustee, I would say we would try to reach out to the person that handles that to see where their money is. But anybody can go on any meeting that we have had to see that we have not removed any escrow funds off of the warrant list. We remove foolishness. We remove unapproved spending, but we don't remove stuff that's in the benefit of the community. So I would like to say that just in reference to what a trustee actually does. Now, on a more positive note, I would like to say that during this time as a trustee, just keep us in prayer. Keep us in prayer because we need to pray for the whole community. We used to have pray for Dolton, and I tried to orchestrate it, but we wasn't getting a lot of turnout. But I think that I'm going to try to do one in October just so we can have this prayer for the community, because this community needs healing. And it needs healing for a lot of different reasons. It has nothing to do with anybody's personal agenda. This is our community. We need to take it back, and we will continue to fight as we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, may I be recognized?
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Trustee Norwood.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. You know what they say, a family that prays together stays together, okay? So let me first start off by saying that I'm so happy to see you all tonight. The support is always needed. Together we stand, divided we fall. And as a board, yes, we have been through a lot. It's no secret. I remember when we first started the fight, people questioned why we had to do so. When I first was elected, I never thought that I would be kicked out of a building, have a mailbox put outside. These are not things that was on the to-do list, right? But we're here. For the last few years, we know that the community is most important. The residents are who we do it for, and if we have to get locked out time and time again, we'll continue to do so for you all, and that's what's most important. It's an old adage, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We do have a few partnerships in place, and those are the things that keeps us going as a board. I would like to thank Dolton Park District, our favorite park district, right? America's favorite park district, for just hanging in there with us. My son used to attend their summer camp every year until he got to the point where he just thought that he was old enough to be the counselor, right? But they were here. They were here. So it's important that, despite it all, we understand that. Thanks again for the Park District. Every summer, lately, they've helped with the Youth Empowerment Program, where they provide the jobs for the youth. They partner with us to do so. So we keep them working. We have them working in their own backyard to teach them community. I'd also like to thank the Chicago Sky Game. I'd like to thank all the residents who attended. We just like to have fun and be together, and I just want you all to know that we are always better together. We're Dolton strong, and it's Team Dolton, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Norwood. I will make a few comments myself. I'll make a few comments, and I'll also update, so I am going to yield a little bit to our attorney on some comments. But I've received several calls about comments that were made at the last board meeting, the last unofficial or canceled board meeting, and people would like to, ask that we address it. I will say that the meeting was not official, it was not approved, so it holds no weight. Any perceived or attempted appointments are invalid. They're not proper. I don't want to say illegal because I'll sound like some other people. But the appointments and then the things that are being said by this, the criminal defense attorney was brought out here to defend the mayor's office. That's what the statement. And you'll notice the statement is defend the mayor's office. They're not worried about defending the residents of Dolton. That's what we are here today. That's what we come every week, every meeting to do, is look for the residents of Dolton. So let's watch the words that they're saying. You see who Ms. Hinyard and her team are fighting for. And we have to stay together as a community and as residents to make sure that Dolton stands strong and we stabilize this community. So moving forward, we're not really going to be recognizing a whole lot of comments being made and the allegations that are unfounded, because it's not worth talking about. We have real issues that need to be addressed, and that's what we're here to do and move this community forward. And we have a bright future. So steps that we're taking now will stabilize this community, and as we move forward into the next administration, we will make sure that Dolton thrives the way that we always have. Having said that, I do want to ask Attorney McGrath just to talk a little bit about the legality or illegality of the meeting that was referenced.
Sure. Thank you, Trustee House. Initially, and it was pointed out in one of the public comments, that the Illinois Attorney General issued a binding opinion, which they don't issue a lot of binding opinions. And I brought a copy of it this evening for anyone who wants to read it. It's very interesting. I'll leave a copy with the village clerk and the deputy clerk to provide extra copies. But if you look at it, it was issued on September 3rd, which is last Tuesday, and it was sent directly to Mayor Hinyard. And it's based upon complaints that were brought to the attention of the Attorney General by a number of residents. I'd point out that we have issued or sent in similar complaints on behalf of the trustees, but we have yet to receive any response from the Attorney General. So I too would echo the response that we just need more help and more responses from the Attorney General's office. But getting back to the binding opinion, as you all know, there's been issues with the meetings at the Village Hall, getting into the Village Hall. The streets have been blocked off. There's barricades, there's metal detectors, there's a limit, a made-up limited number of people that can come into the Village Hall. It's all made up. I guess it was, the ruse is that there was threats made against the mayor. So what's interesting in this opinion, it's actually pretty comical to me, is that in response to the complaints lodged by the three residents for the meetings in question, the mayor and her administration responded by sending a letter that was not even sent to the mayor, but was received by the Rhode Island Police Department. And it's a letter that the Attorney General deems to be not threatening in any way. But more importantly, the letter was mailed out after the meetings in question. So it has actually no impact or has no relevancy as far as any claimed threats or need to barricade the Village Hall or to block people coming in or limiting the number of people coming in. So that is just a bunch of complete just nonsense. But what's interesting is that this letter came out and was sent to the mayor on September 3rd, and she knows from being a trustee and now a mayor for over 3 years that you have to have a quorum for an official public meeting. You have to post an agenda. It's got to be posted timely. It has to have the items that it's going to be discussed. And there's certain rules. The rules are very clear. They're laid out in the municipal code. They're also laid out in the village code. I wasn't at the meeting, but I've seen tapes of it, and clearly there wasn't a quorum. You need at least a majority of the corporate body, and this corporate body is a mayor and 6 trustees, so you need 4 elected officials for a quorum. It's my understanding that it was just the mayor. I think Trustee Brown and Trustee Holmes were there, and Trustee Brown left after being apprised that there wasn't going to be a quorum. So at that point, the meeting, there is no meeting. So whatever happened or didn't happen at that non-meeting has no legal effect. There's no appointments. There is no action that could be taken. Anything that would be taken would be illegal and would not be upheld. So I think that brings the end of it. So any appointments as far as any village attorney, that has to be done at a village board meeting where the board has the chance to give the advice of consent. Same with the village administrator. It's down the agenda for tonight, but we'll go through it then as far as the village administrator position and Mr. Freeman. It is our position that he was never removed from that position or terminated from that position, that he remained in that position and still remains in that position, but the board is going to take the affirmative step just to cover all bases and restore or vote to restore him to that position later on during this meeting in compliance with the state statute and the village code.
Thank you very much, Attorney McGrath. A few other items that came up. First, I think this is the first full or official meeting being convened, so I want to give a great welcome back to our Deputy Clerk, Eris Montgomery, who we've missed so much. And that's a very pivotal piece, in particular with election season coming up. We want to make sure that there are no conflicts of interest as petitions and everything are being filed. Other items that have come up recently that the board has been working on. There was news reports on the Comptroller's Office freezing some funding coming to the Village of Dolton. We've been able to take, working through the village administrator, finance department, the Village of Dolton has made communication, has had regular communication now with the Comptroller's Office. They've identified and let us know that as long as we have a plan in place by the 15th of September, which is coming up very quickly, that we can begin the process of getting our funding restored back to the village. We'll make sure that we keep the community updated on that, but the major piece of it was making sure that communication was had, and with the cooperation of administrative members and the insistence of the Board of Trustees, that process is underway and we expect positive results as we move forward. Next, we have the budget process. We've had to kind of reconcile the FY24 budget, which we did not get a lot of cooperation. Ironically, after Mayor Lightfoot came on board, we started getting a lot of information that we haven't. So now we're in the process of doing a reconciliation of the previous fiscal year. Our next fiscal year budget is due, well, we're past due on that. We expect to have that within a month's time frame. There are several steps that go along with that, because as we get the draft comes to the board. The draft is being presented first to the department heads to get some feedback from that, next to the Board of Trustees. Once the Board of Trustees have comfort with it, we will present it then to the community for further comments and questions, and then ultimately make a vote. So there are still several steps in that. We're going to be doing that in an expedited manner, but we want to make sure that everybody knows that we are proceeding forward. And this is a very pivotal budget because we know the state that our finances are in, so there are changes that have to be done, and those changes have to be done rapidly, and virtually yesterday. That will include some expense reductions, some things to make our village more efficient. Some items that are on this agenda today are because of that. It also may include another round of layoffs. We intend that if that must happen, we do the layoffs all at one time. We do not want employees to be fearing that any day they come in, it could be one layoff after another after another. We want to make sure we do this in the most budget efficient way and the most humane ways to those involved in the process. Our annual audits, because our audits have not been completed since this administration has taken over. The auditor that we have on record, because of many of the reports and many of the allegations, the subpoenas that have been given to the Village of Dolton for fraud, those audits now, the auditor has refused to issue an opinion for the Village of Dolton, and we're back and pushing us back, not to square one, but we're probably at about square four on out of a 10-step process. But we are not deterred. We've reached out. We've put together an RFP. We've reached out to no less than 10 accounting firms, and 10 firms shared the same concerns as Lauderback and Amon, who is our current auditor. I will say, as recently as today, we have 2 firms that are interested in picking up the mantle and taking things forward for fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2023 to get us back on track. This is a key component of what the comptroller is requiring of us to make sure that we get our funding back flowing, key component of making sure that we're doing responsible government for the residents of Dolton, and we expect that process to be underway as well within a month's time frame. Lastly, it's been reported about our bank account. There have been some challenge. There's been a real issue with the bank accounts that we've had. So after the last board meeting, the board voted for an approval of all of the checks that were deemed appropriate: workers' comp, health insurance, general liability insurance, of course the payrolls, utilities. So anything that was necessary for this village to maintain, the board made the proper vote. Those bills were then presented or requested for the mayor, because the proper sign, it has 2 signatures. It should be the mayor as well as the village clerk. Those were presented or asked of the mayor to come and do her signature so that we can proceed and issue those checks. She declined to do that. Fortunately, we have an ordinance in place that is the mayor pro tem that says when our mayor refuses to do her job, that the mayor pro tem is empowered to do that. So I thank the board for having the foresight for situations like this, and we've seen this coming. With that, myself, Clerk Key, went ahead, signed the check so that we could release and make sure vital services continued. Because the mayor's office was disappointed in that, they contacted our bank claiming false signatures on the bank account. The bank essentially said, we're not playing these games, I'm tired of it, gave us a 60-day notice that we need to, that our accounts will be closed within that time frame and we need to find another banking partnership. That's a black eye and a big hit to the community, again, because we're playing games around with utilities and bills. There's been no claims, no allegations, and I will note that there is not, for all of the allegations against this board, allegations, not allegations, for all the allegations against this board, there have been no lawsuits filed, no binding opinions against this board, and we will continue to move forward with the advice of our attorney that helps to maintain and make sure we're doing things properly. With that being said, we have 60 days. We're on 60-day notice. Hope I never get another one of those, but but we have in our time taken the time to vet out a few banks. We've had conversations with 2 banks, and we also expect that we will have a new banking relationship coming up within the next 30 days so that we can transfer things over. That has caused a delay to some that are old checks and some bills that are outstanding. Vendors have been notified, and we're continuing to notify people. So we thank those that stand with us. We know that there's $6 million outstanding of checks that we may not at this time have the funding to pay. I will promise any debt that the Village of Dolton owes will be paid, and we will increase through this budget process and moving forward our communication with vendors to make sure everybody is made whole like for their diligence in this process. So I think those are all the updates. Attorney McGrath, did you have anything that I missed?
No, covered. Thank you.
Okay, so those are all the updates and general announcements. Next, I'll yield the floor to the clerk, Deputy Clerk Montgomery for the village clerk's report.
Thank you. Good evening again to the board and to the residents. I am asking the Board of Trustees for approval of minutes for August 5th, 2024 special board meeting, August 5th, 2024 regular board meeting, August 8th, 2024 special board meeting.
I motion to approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Okay, hearing that motion in second, any discussion? Yeah. Trustee Stan?
I'm in support of the regular board meeting, but the special board meeting, I was not present with that, so I can't really vote on those.
Okay, so if you are okay, we'll just go individually, so that way you can.
Yes, sir.
Bypass. Okay. So first, do I need to retract the motion because we tried to bundle it or not?
No, if Trustee Brown doesn't mind just abstaining from those two special meeting minutes, I think that would cover it.
Yeah, I would abstain from those 2 meetings, but the other one, yes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
we were going to vote them all at one time, but should we so I just read them one by one?
Yeah, you're going to have to go.
Okay, so we'll go through individually. Motion to approve August 5th, 2024 special board meeting. I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Okay, here a motion and second. Any discussion? Deputy Clerk, please roll call.
Trustee Norwood,
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown,
Abstain.
Trustee Tammy Brown. Aye. Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes is absent. Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next I'll make a motion that we approve August 5th, 2024 regular board meeting. That's my motion. I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Hearing a motion and second, any discussion? Deputy Clerk, please roll call.
Trustee Norwood,
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown,
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown. Aye. Mayor Pro Tem House,
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Next I will motion that we approve August 8th, 2024 special board meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a motion and second, any discussion? Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood,
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown.
Abstain.
Trustee Tammy Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, any additional reports for you, Deputy Clerk?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, next we have up is our warrant, corporate bills. I'm looking through my phone so I can pull up the warrant list to be read into record. Trustee Stanley Brown, would you love to read that in the record? Okay. All right. We're going to read the July 31st, 2024 electronic AP warrant list having corporate payments of $260,633.45, water fund payments $317,005.97, sewer fund payments $1,700.16, total payments on this register $579,339.58. Is there a motion to approve the bills as read?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All right, hearing that motion in the second, any discussion? No discussion. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next is the AP warrants, which we're reading from the August 2024 warrant list with corporate payments $989,951.88. Gross payroll for August 7th, $483,187.12. Gross payroll August 9th, $427,542.97. Gross payroll August 23rd, $455,088.78. And Melanie Fitness Center register, $1,244.32. Motion that these bills be approved with the exclusion of K&M Ventures and all other bills to be paid. I'll ask, is there a second?
May I,
You have some additional items?
I want to amend that.
Okay, I'll retract my motion, and Trustee Belcher, please advise which other ones.
I would like to make a motion of the AP warrant list, but you said K&M Ventures, and then there was one other that I'm requesting to be removed because we were waiting for some information from R.E. Welch and Associates.
Okay. Received, so the motion would be approval of the bills with the exclusion of K&M Ventures and R.E. Welch and Associates?
That's correct.
Okay. You want to make the motion or you want to make it? Or you make the motion?
I'm making a motion.
I'll second. Okay, hearing a motion and second, any discussion?
Yes, I would like some discussion.
Okay, Trustee Belcher.
Good evening again, and just because we all sit up here, I don't want us to think that I'm a rubber stamp, and I'll just say me, because there are some issues or concerns that I have about things that's on the warrant list, but I know that bills have to be paid. But I want to also let the community know of things that's going on and why I'm requesting stuff to be taken off. K&M Ventures, last month, we paid $35,000 for an invoice because we had the storm. The storm came and we needed them to come out. We were very grateful for them. But going through the invoice, myself and Trustee Norwood went to some of those houses, and many of the residents know there's still tree trunks down. There's still branches on there, and on the invoices, they said that they would be removed. So if that was part of us paying $35,000 that they removed it, why would we pay you some more money when you haven't completed what we've already approved? That's from Kiana Belcher, Trustee Kiana Belcher. So that was my concern of K&M Ventures. My other one was the R.E. Walsh company, which is a law firm, but that was the law firm that stated that they did the investigation for the Las Vegas. The bill is $8,403.75. Until today, I don't know if anybody else on the board, we have not received a report of what was done. We didn't find out until the news. But now it's a year later, and you want us to pay you $8,400. So those are issues that I have. My last one, and this may hurt, although it's not taken off because I know that we have to go day to day, but I feel that Senior Trustee Jason House requested a draft copy of a budget over about a month and a half ago. We pay our accounting firm between $40,000 and $60,000 a month. Whatever we request, we should be getting it. We shouldn't have to have outside entities come in, subpoena this and do that when all of that information is in the hands of our accounting firm. So of course, I know that they have to be paid because right now they're running most of our operation with finance. But I feel it's unfair to not the board and the community that we request stuff and they slow drag their feet, but they don't slow drag their feet when they send us these invoices that they want to get paid. So I'm gonna move to approve the items because I know that I don't want to hinder the community, but I want it on record that this is our money and they should be providing information to us that we need so we can move this village forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee. I'm going to also kind of piggyback or come to some of the points that Trustee Belcher made in terms of rubber stamp, because a lot of times the board, most board will vote in unison. And it's important that we understand that the reason that the meetings that we go to and at the village hall are so chaotic is that there is no exception or there's no tolerance for two-sided conversation. So on this board, we always know that if there's a disagreement, if we have to pull something back, we know that we're going to communicate with one another and get the right answer. There is no pushback on removing something to make sure we got the right effort, because it is all about the community, as Trustee Belcher mentioned. So as we go through there are many items that we may disagree with, and you'll see if we pull something back, is because we know we need to vet it a little bit further. We're going to do the right thing. I'll comment. We've had a lot of good discussions. I would say recently, Trustee Stan Brown, there's some information that had not always been shared with him, so sometimes that splitting will be the information that he may not be aware of. And I'm grateful for the commitment and dedication that everybody up here has to continuing that conversation and continuing moving forward. It really is about trying to find a way that we can collectively work so that we can change the narrative of Dolton and recognize that people can work together, and we are doing that for this community. So thank you for that comment. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah.
Okay, Trustee Norwood.
Yeah. I just want the residents to know that, for the last few years, there's no secret in regards to us removing things from the warrant list. I just want you all to know that we've been fighting for transparency. This prioritizing of the spending is the most important. As Trustee Belcher stated, because we're putting the people first, we're working with our financial department to get the answers that we need. But overall, we shouldn't have to fight so hard. Our village is suffering. Anytime it gets to the point where you have to do layoffs, things are going to a point where we have to make some decisions. So I just want you all to know that I've received you all's calls. I know that you all need lights. I told her to stop taking these first-class flights because we need these lights. And I want you all to know that we're going to continue to hold them accountable. And even though they continue to spend the money, we will continue to remove these things, just so you all know that we're making the best decisions for you all. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Sure. Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you very much. We'll go right next into new business. We were going to bundle. I think there was a little there was a separate version of the agenda that was sent later, but we can't go off of that one because it was not the one posted with 48-hour notice. So with that, I'm gonna go make sure I'll go one by one so that way we can make sure we're all on the same page of which motions we're going. Item A is a motion to approve ordinance number 24-010, establishing and adopting a policy governing reimbursement of elected officials and employee travel, meaning lodge and expenses and necessary employee expenses. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. I make a motion to approve ordinance 24-010.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, hearing a motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next, item B, motion to approve an ordinance 24-012, amending the village code on check signing requirements. Is there a motion to, actually, I want a motion to approve this, but I want an amendment to it. This one also included this ordinance is making the authorized signers of checks as written in the ordinance is the mayor, clerk, mayor pro tem, and finance director. I want to amend the ordinance to remove finance director so that way employees do not have to fear retaliation of the mayor, so we make sure it's elected officials that are doing it. So my motion is to approve 24-012 with the amendment as stated, and I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Okay, here a motion and second. Is there any discussion?
You removing the finance director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do the mayor,
The clerk.
It's mayor, clerk, and pro tem. All checks will require 2 signatures on to be issued.
Okay, I'm fine.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, item C is a motion to approve an ordinance 24-009 imposing a temporary moratorium on reimbursement of elected officials and employee travels and meals. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 24-009.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing that motion and second, any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Belcher?
I know we're going through these ordinances, but most of the time, you guys see what has happened with all of these trips, all of these hotel stays. And we go to IML every year where we have information that we can share at Tea with the Trustees or information that get us to move forward. Taking these trips to all of these conferences and bringing back absolutely nothing means that you're just taking trips on the taxpayers' dime. So what this would hopefully do, this moratorium would stop that. Just not to say that we don't want to get information or go to conferences, but we have to be more diligent of how we're spending the money right now and to stop it until we can get our house in order. So I just wanted to say that, sir.
Thank you very much. Any further comments?
Yeah, I just want to make one. Even with that being said, in our budget, there is funding allowed for us to go to IML and to take the training. The mayor has stopped that. You are to pay for your own training, your own hotel, your own lodging, your own meals, everything. And we've been going since 21, 22. Recently just got reimbursed. Money is there for that. So if we didn't spend the $10,000 that was set aside for it, where did it go? Where did it go? So if it's not going to be used for what it's set aside for, then make sure if you're going to utilize it, make sure that's something that's going to benefit the village. So again, money is set aside for it. A lot of things are not being used what it was actually appropriated for. So definitely would like to approve this ordinance. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Tammy. Any additional comments? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk. Oh, yeah, Attorney McGrath.
Is this on? It is. Yeah, I think it should be mentioned also to go back to the prior ordinance 24-010. That is an ordinance establishing a travel policy, which the village never had before, but I don't think it's ever been an issue with somebody or people traveling across the country in different states and cities and upgrading their airfare and spending all kinds of money on restaurants and entertainment. So that is the purpose for having that on the books. And then this ordinance takes it a step further, that there's a moratorium, it's a freeze on any travel, entertainment expenses that have been ongoing here in the village like crazy in the last 3 years, with the exception of the IML. And for the people in the audience, the IML is the Illinois Municipal League. It's a conference that's held every year. It's widely attended by mayors and trustees and village administrators and municipal staff, and it's held right in the city of Chicago. It's held every September. People statewide go to it. It's very informative. Just about every village sends their elected officials there for additional training, not just year one, but to continue their education. So I think that, just wanted to point that out.
Thank you very much, Attorney McGrath. Any further comment at this time? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Sure. Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. Item D is a motion to approve ordinance number 24-011, establishing a policy on village cell phones and iPads. Is there a motion?
I motion.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing a motion and second. Any discussion at this time?
Can we say cell phones and like tablets, because it's more than just iPads?
Okay. So we want to
So maybe
amend to
electronic devices, maybe that.
Cell
Can we
phones
just
and
say
electronic
electronic devices?
Okay, so we'll amend. We want to approve it with the amendment of adding electronic devices to the ordinance. Do I need to get another second, or is that?
No, that's fine. We'll add that to the language of the
And
ordinance.
in discussion, the reason I say electronic devices, because since we have now been able to actually communicate and work with departments, not only have we found an abundance of tablets just sitting around, like stacks of them, not being used, but we're being put in the bill, but we've also found the little sinks where I guess they have like portable Wi-Fi that you can put in everybody's car, like luxury stuff that you do for your personal self, not for municipality. So that's why I would want to say electronic devices versus just iPads. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And further, the policy that, as it has been presented to the board, also includes the inventorying of these items and to make sure that they're assigned out properly to each one of the employees and they're signed out, and that those devices are returned upon the separation of that employee from the village. So those policies, as Attorney McGrath mentioned, previously had not been in place. And so we want to make sure that we have documented policies on the books that protect the village.
And I don't think the issue is clear to the board, given that the board was not getting the information that it requested. A lot of this came through Lori Lightfoot's investigation, as well as cooperation with staff now within the last six weeks or so. It really came to light.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown? Aye. Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next on here is item E. I'm going to yield kind of to the board's discretion on this one. I think item E we may want to hold off, which is a motion to approve an ordinance declaring a village-wide hiring freeze. I think we may want to couple this with the budget to make sure that we have the proper people in the budget. But if the board would like to proceed, then we will do so. Any thoughts, board members?
Yeah, that makes sense. So we can wait.
You said E?
E.
RE says,
Yeah, that's why I said I'm
I
going
got
one
E.
by one.
I would say,
E, F, and G.
the settlement agreement, our E does.
It doesn't say that.
That was one. Okay, yeah, so there was the original one that was posted on the door 2 days ago. I think there was some confusion. A revised agenda was sent over this afternoon, but we have to go off of the one that was posted 48 hours ago. It was E, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going off of the original agenda, which was posted with the 48-hour notice.
Okay.
So,
What's the
is the
question?
board okay with holding this one back until we approve the budget, or would you like to proceed at this time?
Wait until we approve the budget.
Okay. So E will be removing from this agenda to be revisited at a later time. The next items, F, G, H, and I are all litigation that need to be discussed in executive session. So I'll be pushing those down until we go into executive session for discussion. Item J being a motion to restore Keith Freeman as village administrator pursuant to 65 ILCS 5/3.1-35-10 and Village Code 1-8-1B. I'll make the motion to restore Keith Freeman as village administrator.
Second.
Hearing it motion and second, I'm going to ask Attorney McGrath, because we had a little bit of a fuss because he's been working the entire time, so I'm going to ask him for clarity on the procedural need to have this motion pushed forward.
Yes, as I stated earlier, the law is real clear on as far as appointments and removal of appointed positions by the mayor. It needs to be done with the advice and consent. The mayor can remove an appointed position or official. That has to be done in writing. There's time constraints. It has to be done no less than 5 days and no more than 10 days after the removal. It has to be done at a meeting. And if the mayor fails to follow those proper steps, there's not a proper removal. If the mayor follows those easy steps, then the corporate authorities, being the village board, can move to restore that appointed position, that appointed official by a 2/3 vote. So it's our legal opinion that the mayor failed to follow the municipal code, which can be found at 65 ILCS 5/3.1-35-10. The village code mirrors the same language. There was no removal at any village board meeting. There was a letter sent out, not by her, but by a criminal defense attorney who has not been appointed by the village that I'm aware of. So certainly a criminal defense attorney cannot remove a village administrator. There's a number of grounds why this has no merit. As you stated, Trustee, Keith Freeman has been working as the village administrator throughout. I have had multiple calls with him, meetings with him. He's assisted in getting us documents and information. He has not left the job. Again, going back to last Tuesday's scheduled meeting, which was not a meeting because there was no quorum, there was no appointment of any type of replacement. So I asked for this to be on the agenda just to cover your bases, just in case there was ever any type of a challenge in court, which if it is challenged, it would certainly be struck down. But I'm asking the board to restore Keith Freeman as village administrator, even though he's never left the post. As long as there is a 2/3 vote, we have everything covered.
Thank you very much, Attorney McGrath. Any additional questions at this time? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, Trustee Stan?
It's kind of confusing right now because right now, Keith Freeman, he's working from home, and being the village administrator work from home, I don't see how that job can be actually carried out. So I'm not comfortable with that. Yeah, we'll take it to executive session without a doubt because we do need to talk about it.
Okay, we can discuss further. Would the board like to hold on voting on this one until after executive session?
Yes,
Would that be
sir.
the request?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will Motion, you have a comment as well? Trustee Norwood? Okay, I'll yield to Trustee Norwood's comment, and then we'll make a motion on this one.
When we talk, and since we're on the subject, I know that it was stated that the board, we brought Keith Freeman to the village, and they couldn't be further from the truth. Not only that, the first time we didn't even approve them because they didn't do it properly. And now that Keith Freeman is finally doing the right thing and he's protected by the Whistleblowers Act, they want to remove him. And to your point, Stan, Trustee Brown, I understand that the concern is him working from home, but in all honesty, I've gotten more work done for the residents within the last month or two since he's come to the other side than ever before. And when we talk about putting the residents first, these are the things that I'm considering. I'm thinking about, because we all know that for years the residents have called us with complaints and our hands have been tied. So for out of 3.5 years, I've only been able to experience helping the residents fully with Keith Freeman's help, the village administrator's help. So I just wanted to be clear that I feel that he's an important part to the residents to assisting us with getting some of the resident services. I know that there are a lot of concerns. Residents call me constantly regarding not being able to get permits, right? We've heard someone say they're not getting some checks. We know that this administration is failing us. And right now, until we get through this completely, I just feel as if working with him is the best thing in terms of getting things done, because ultimately the services for the residents are important. And as a trustee, I like being able to contact Keith Freeman and saying, hey, they have a question about a water main break. Can you look into it for me? I like the fact that he can contact me even from home. He can make the necessary calls and contact me back, and then I can update the residents. So when we talk about putting the residents first, to me, I'm excited. I'm excited about the work that we've been able to accomplish since we've made changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion on this matter?
Just one last.
Okay, Trustee Tammy.
Of course, everyone knows that Keith and I didn't have a good working relationship. And since things have changed, as Trustee Norwood have said, we are able to get things done. Things were in place to prevent him from coming to work back in the building. So those things now have been worked on. We've come to some type of agreement, and he will be returning to the building shortly once we get things in place. We were even locked out the building. So let alone not just Keith Freeman, we couldn't even go in the building. You know, so things were put in place to keep us from going in the building. We go in the building now, everybody picking up phones and taking pictures. I just posted the agenda, and I probably had 5 snapshots of me putting the agenda on the door. So we are working hard to restore things back the way they used to be. It takes time, but those things are in place. And I say give it a couple of months, and absolutely, Keith Freeman would be back in the building, and so would the residents. So just give us time and patience, work with us, and all those things will be restored. Thank you.
Won't he do it? Yes, he will.
Thank you, Trustee. Okay, so I think the board has agreed that we will, how do I rescind the or vote until after?
Executive session.
Okay, so we will rescind the vote at this time, and we will motion this back up after executive session. Item K is a pleasure for everybody. We're going to move that down just a little bit. I think we're getting through this agenda pretty quickly. Item L is ratification and termination of former Deputy Chief Lewis Lacey. This item is put on the agenda because we made the official termination was August 6th. However, it was not done in a public forum, so we need to make sure that we have done this in the proper format. So I'll ask, is there a motion to ratify the termination of former Deputy Chief Lacey?
Motion.
Second.
Hearing a motion and second, any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Belcher?
So, I'm gonna say this. I have been working with the police department since Deputy Chief Lacey has left. Out of 14 to 21 days, the morale is going up. And that's good for our community when you're not working in a hostile environment and being made to do things that you know that you shouldn't do. Because these officers, when they leave out, they want to come home. And to have someone over you and giving you orders that you know are unethical or not right is an issue. So when we had the original meeting, was August 5th, it was pending investigation because there was a lot of things going on. And then he was officially terminated. But it was a whole lot of controversy. I'm sure everybody's seen on the news. She came back, she said he's still in charge or whatever. But during the course of that time, our police officers were still working. And they were working based on the fact that they have realized that the trustees are in a position to help them. So they had did a no confidence letter because they were really kind of scared, like, oh my God, although the trustees are saying that he's fired, the mayor has the ability to put him back in place. And I want to read the letter because although this is our official termination for him, I want you to know what how the police department felt. We, the members of the Dolton Police Department, are generating a correspondence to our union. The village administration, board of trustees, and citizens of the village of Dolton as a formal declaration expressing our displeasure with the leadership of the former Deputy Chief of Police, Louis Lacey. This letter serves as official notice of intent to present a unified vote of no confidence in the former Deputy Chief Lacey for past, present, and any future leadership for Louis Lacey. The village and the residents do not deserve the example of unprofessionalism in the service of our community, and the members of the department apologize for the impact stemming from the fractures in the department leadership. The Dolton Police Department command staff and its officers have come together in effort to show solidarity in the face of ongoing internal turmoil, and we humbly ask for your support and grace as we make active attempts to implement much-needed internal changes so that we may serve this community with integrity and professionalism as it deserves. A vote was conducted in early August, and an overwhelming majority of 95% voted that they had no confidence in Deputy Chief Louis Lacey. That is from the department, Dolton Police Department. So as you guys see, we are making strides to turn this thing around. And as long as we can continue to effectively work with the departments and work with the village administrator, we're just gonna push somebody else on out the way until we continue doing what we need to do. So I just wanted to read this and have this on record before we took the vote.
Thank you very much, Trustee Belcher. Any other comments? Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a motion to approve 2024-2025 business licenses. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, hearing a motion and second. Any discussion? We'll discuss a little bit. There are it's been brought to our attention that there are 18 businesses that we've been presented with licenses that range anywhere from 2 to 6, almost 9 months delinquent on getting it with no justifiable reason for the businesses to not have the licenses. Some of these businesses include Menards, Wendy's, Domino's Pizza. So big name businesses that we want to make sure that we get ourselves back in good standing and good graces so that they can continue to serve the people of Dolton. Any additional comments?
May I be recognized?
Absolutely, Trustee Belcher.
And this goes back to even just day-to-day operations. We have businesses. We don't want to lose businesses. I'm sure if you guys noticed that Pepe's is gone. And Pepe's is gone because they were not able to get their license renewed. And those kind of issues not only hurt us in reference to taxes that come in and businesses that come in, but it also hurt because that's revenue that we get from the license that they apply for. And if you have no justification that you just doing what you want to do and not taking care of business of the community, we have to put a stop to it. So I'm grateful that we are able to possibly move this forward for them to get their licenses so they can continue to bring money back into the community.
Any other? Trustee Stan?
And I'd like to piggyback on that. I did have the opportunity to get by the village yesterday. I definitely inquired when I saw that Menards on there, when I called and checked on that Menards and Wendy's. Come on, that's a nice spot. I got to stop to give me a Wendy. But with that being said, with all those 18 individuals, businesses, as long as their paperwork is right and correct from the state and come here to the village, let's get all 18 open. We definitely can use it, but we just have to make sure their paperwork is right and correct. So I know us Daltonians, we got our arms open for these businesses. So if they right, let's go for it.
Thank you very much, Trustee Stan. And I will just say to any business out there, these are the businesses that we're aware of. Any businesses that are suffering through these hard times, please feel free to reach out to myself or any other board member up here so that we can get the process going. Having said that, any additional comments?
I have the list of the businesses. I'll give them to the deputy clerk, and if anyone in the audience wants to see, I think it'd be interesting for them to know what businesses have applied for licenses. Many of them have been established businesses in the village for many years, and for unknown reasons, their licenses have been held up. So I think the residents deserve to know what businesses, and then they can patronize those businesses, and it all helps the community.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Attorney. Okay, hearing no additional comments at this time, I'll ask Deputy Clerk for a roll call.
Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown. Trustee Stanley Brown.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
And Trustee Tammy Brown. Aye. Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval and transfer from the MFT funds to general fund. Is there a motion on this one? Yeah, okay.
Second.
Hearing a motion and second, any discussion?
Yes.
Was that Trustee Norwood?
I know for the last few years, you've all heard us talk, explain that we're in a deficit. We're in a deficit. These parties are draining us. And now we've come to the point where we're forced to make these decisions, the tough decisions. And it's all because of our field administration and the field leadership. So I just want you all to know that we have to make this decision. We're going to make this decision for the people, but ultimately, we're going to continue to do what's best for you all. Thank you. I think you do.
Was it really? No, I'm saying, did you?
Criminal violence?
No, their contract.
Oh, that's like we're doing that for last.
Okay, cool. That's all.
No, you just
I'm
did.
sorry, Brett.
Nothing. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Any additional comments?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
I'm sorry, who first and second?
First was, I believe, Trustee Tammy Brown,
And I
and
second.
second, Trustee Norwood.
Okay. Got you. Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay. So we're going to cycle back item number K. I think Trustee Belcher will introduce item K.
Yes. So item K is discussion of collective bargaining agreement between IAFF Local 3766 and the Village of Dolton. I'm sure everyone has known that for the last 5 years, the fire department came and stated that they have been working diligently without a contract. I am happy to say that not only were we able to negotiate a successful contract, but we got them to 2027. And what I'm so happy about is it's working together. It's making sure that this is not about anyone's personal agenda. This is about making sure that we're doing what's right for the community and making the firefighters whole. So, the president wanted to speak, but I don't know, would that be on discussion?
I think we're okay with.
Are you okay with Adam speaking?
I think there really should be a motion and second.
Right, that's what I was,
On the
okay,
agenda
before we
for-
go to discussion. All right, so I want to make a motion that we approve the bargaining agreement between IAFF Local 3766 and the Village of Dolton.
Second.
Oh,
Trustee Stan got me. Trustee Stan got me.
all right.
Okay, here a motion in the second. We're in discussion.
Okay, so we're in the discussion. Could the firefighters come up?
Guys, my name's Adam Farr. I'm the president of Dolton Firefighters Local 3766. First and foremost, I want to thank the residents for the support through all of this. It's great. When we hear you guys clap like that, it truly does mean something. When we drive down the streets and we have people waving to us, we know we're here to protect you guys, and it goes a long way. Secondly, I would really like to thank the trustees for working with us and having integrity across the way with this. Mike McGrath is their attorney, stand-up guy. He was very professional. He showed up on time. He showed up with all of his documents needed, and we sat there like gentlemen and discussed what we needed to discuss and got everything done in 2 meetings. We had about 20 meetings with the previous administration. We met with them 2 times, and we got everything accomplished.
All right.
I'd also like to thank Trustee Kiana Belcher. She is the chair over the fire department. She has been great. We send her one email, we get a response right away, and everything going on with our 457 and the insurance, she's on it. So I definitely like to thank her for that as well. And lastly, we do have an open door policy with our trustees. They come into the firehouse all the time. Brittany's sometimes there for 3 hours, maybe drinks 4 or 5 pots of coffee, and everyone's creamer. But it's a real relationship, and we're here to serve them as well and you guys. So this is a great team, and we appreciate everything from you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Norwood, I know you had a comment.
See, now they are wrong. Them and Trustee Belcher, they keep judging me for going over there and drinking coffee, and I'm telling them that this is team building. They're not listening, okay? For anyone who, most of you may know that a few years ago, I was in Fountain Crest Condo Association, and we had a fire. And when we had a fire, it was then that I realized how important the services are. When we talk about providing the residents with services, we're talking about sometimes life and death. When I opened my front door, all I seen was smoke. I panicked, I was screaming, I was about to throw my son out the window. I'm scared of heights, he's scared of heights. So it was a life-changing moment, but it was satisfying to have the firefighters there right before I was about to jump so they brought the ladder up instead, so I didn't have to jump. So I thank them. I understand that their services are very important. And again, I'll probably be back for coffee tomorrow, just so you know.
I do similarly want to thank the firefighters for going through 5+ years without a contract and showing up and showing out every day for the community. So I think just one more round of applause. Any additional comments at this time?
I would just like to say, see what happened when you work together?
Oh, okay. So if not, Deputy Clerk, I'll ask for a roll call on this, please.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, next we have to go into executive session for items E, F, G, H, L, and J. So I'll ask that we get a motion to go for personnel matters and legal matters. So I'll let.
Litigation and personnel.
Okay, litigation and personnel. So is there a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Hearing a motion and second, we will stand adjourned until executive session concludes. Okay, they got to set up across the hall over there. Motion to resume our board meeting.
Second.
Here, motion and second. I'll ask Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye. Okay.
Meeting resumed at 9:06.
Okay, so for the items E, F, G, H, I, and J, we will be combining these. I'll ask Attorney McGrath to give the proper wording for the motion.
Yes, the proper motion would be a motion to approve items F, G, H, I, J, with the change of the language to item H, a motion to approve settlement authority for the Paris Dawson versus the Village of Dolton matter.
Okay, is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, well, I'll do the motion. Motion for Trustee House, second Trustee Belcher. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, and that concludes the agenda, so I'll ask if is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn this
Second.
evening's meeting.
Here, a motion and second. Any discussion? Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Norwood?
Aye.
Trustee Stanley Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Tammy Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem House?
Aye.
Trustee Belcher?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 9:08.